to the second segment, episode 134 of Sold with, am I right with that?
I thought it was 136.
Okay, it's 135.
I said 134.
We'll average it.
Awesome.
So today we're going to talk about 4 myths about buying a property in today's market.
It is one of the things that we constantly get asked about what is happening today. And so we thought, what a perfect time to take and talk about some of this stuff. I call them, we could have called this urban legends, but I wasn't thinking about that. So we'll do the myths of what there are. So what's the first myth that's out there right now, Jeff?
The first one that's out there right now is that I can't buy in this market because it's too competitive.
A lot of people, either that or they're exhausted. And I don't know that that's always the best. I don't think that that's always the truth, because so many times right now, the buyer or the seller needs more than just the price. Many times we haven't always been the highest priced, but we have clients that have had luxury in taking possession. And I think that we have been able to be really creative with the timetable of possession. And therefore, when that gets kind of factored back in to a seller's costs and expenses, it kind of gets closer to it. Sometimes buyers today are like, I sold my house, I have to get into something. And we have been really lucky to kind of help slow things down with our buyers to the point where they have this extended time. And I think that sellers have really responded to that quite well right now.
They really have. And one of the other things I think that has helped is we're encouraging our buyers to start much earlier in the process now, because just because of that, if nothing else, number one, it gives them an opportunity to learn the market really well. Number two, it gives them an opportunity to get their financing in place and get that as fully approved as it can possibly be.
Yes.
It's one of the things we're going to talk about with Jeremy next week.
In depth.
And, one of the other things that I think you've done really well when you're working with buyers is you work really hard to question the listing agent and find out what that seller needs. What are the hot buttons for that seller?
And I would say that, not to toot our own horn, but I think that there are a couple of transactions that you and I have landed for the simple fact that the agents on the other end knew us and knew that we can get things done that were low drama, and that when we say something, that's usually the truth.
It really is. And that, one of the things that, we talk about is that the agents that we have to work with, we're going to work with for the rest of our career. Buyers and sellers come and go. Yes, they're all friends. Yes, but we have to work with other agents. And over the, last 15 years that we work together, we have figured out a lot of times who those agents are that we like to work with. And, when they're bringing somebody, whether they're a listing agent or they're bringing the buyer, it makes that transaction that much easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you want
And
to...
real estate doesn't have to be full of drama. People like their real estate transactions to have some drama because they're supposed to, but they don't have to.
No. And the deal is there's so many other moving parts that the egos and the dramas have got to step out of the room. It is too much.
What's number 2?
All websites are the same when you're searching for real estate. That is, if you are not on a website that is an IDX direct or doesn't make money by selling leads, you're behind the curve. And in this market, that's going to mean you're going to miss out on many houses.
Yeah, there are uses for all of the websites out there.
100%.
If I'm not going to go into all that detail today, but if you want to know, call me. We can do it in a 5-minute conversation. But there are uses for all of them, but you have to know how to use them and what the benefits of using each one are.
Right. So let's talk not about the ones you shouldn't use, but let's talk about the ones that you should use.
Absolutely. I think our website is really a great way to be able to set up searches, to be able to get information. Ours is directly connected to the MLS, so you have that ability to get data instantly when it goes into MLS. We also set up searches for our clients through what's called the portal into the MLS, and we really like using that because you really you are getting extra information that you might not be getting from other websites.
The interesting thing about the portal is that you'll get coming soons.
Yes.
And no IDX feed gets coming soons. So that's one of the things to note. Another great one would be Realtor.com, Ebby.com. Those are all wonderful. They don't sell the leads.
DavePerryMiller.com.
Dave Perry Miller. So just think about that. In this market, our big bit of information, not all websites are created equal. Use the one that doesn't get money from selling leads. And if you're not sure, contact us. We'll be happy to let you know.
Absolutely.
Great. What's your next one?
Number 3 is I don't have to worry about cyber fraud because I'm small potatoes.
That's the scariest thing
It is.
ever.
Yeah.
So you'll be required to sign a cyber fraud security notice with us. That's really not enough. And we continually talk our clients through these moments when they become vulnerable.
Yes, and that is cyber fraud in the real estate business has become such a problem because there is so much money involved in real estate
Correct.
transactions. Real estate companies have been scammed. A lot of consumers have been scammed. A lot of title companies have been scammed. A lot of the title companies and real estate companies now have protections in place that help consumers to avoid being scammed, but many times consumers kind of take their eye off the ball, and they if you know the minute something looks fishy, that's when you need to make the phone call.
Absolutely.
And it's call us, call the title company. Don't call the phone number that's in the email, but actually, look at the phone number that was in your contract, or what our phone number is, call us.
Because nothing's going to change in the 24 hours before closing where you're going to need to send your wiring instructions to something else. It is not going to happen. Yet when it does, that is a huge red flag that everyone has to pay attention to. And I think what happens is people become just at that last minute, they're kind of scurrying around. The closing disclosures are coming out. We're trying to figure out how much money you need for closing, and it just gets compressed and it gets overlooked. So we can't emphasize enough throughout the transaction, cyber fraud is real. When that money is gone, it becomes very difficult, and then we have to involve other people in it to help claw it back, if it's possible even at all.
And most title companies now, the only way that they will send you wiring instructions is through a secure portal, meaning that they will send you a link. That link will take you back to a website. You have to create an account on the website, you log in, and then they will provide you with the wiring instructions through that portal. So there are lots of steps that are in place, but don't think just because you're buying your first home or you're dealing with a small down payment or whatever you're working with that you're not a target, because you are.
Yep.
Everyone is.
Everyone is a target for cybersecurity. And then the last one.
The last one is, are we in a real estate bubble?
So it is interesting because I think that you and I talked about this 6 weeks ago and we said we weren't. And I was really kind of like, it just doesn't feel like a bubble because there's so much good financing in place. There's not a lot of no docs. Appraisers are being held accountable. They're a little further away from the transaction. Lots of cash is coming into the market right now. So there's a lot of elements that we thought were in line to make a strong op. But as I continue to read, like through Twitter, the articles that come across from NAR or, the CEO of Redfin might write an article, it seems to be that everybody is talking that this is not a bubble.
Yeah, and those are all, you're absolutely 100% right. To me, what I'm reading from people that are outside the real estate business is equally as important, because
Correct.
the economists that don't have a dog in the fight, like the Lawrence Yun, the National
Yep.
Association of Realtors chief economist.
He's wonderful.
He's great. He's very informative, but he's got a dog in the fight.
Correct.
His job is to show the positive side of real estate.
Right.
But it's the other economists that are also saying a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
The one that's funny, there are a few people that have been talking about how we are in a bubble, and they've been talking about being in this bubble for 4 years. And so
That's a big bubble.
and at some point, the real estate market is going to shift. Where the real estate market goes up and down in 7 to 9 year cycles, and we're on year 11 right now.
At least.
So there is going to be a shift. What that shift is going to consist of, no one knows.
Right.
So we've I think been incredibly lucky to have been living in an affordable market for so long, and I think our city has and all the neighboring communities have gotten so much better, and it's become such a a city that's more on par with larger cities like the Los Angeleses and the San Franciscos and the Seattles. Our housing prices just had to change.
At some point. I think the thing that I will see, or this would be interesting, is that once the inventory catches up to the need, I think that the rate of appreciation will slow down.
Absolutely.
And the rate of absorption, so those two things, I think will stem and will kind of neutralize. But I think as far as like what our values are, I think if you think that you're going to be able to get a house cheaper in 12 months than you can today, I think that would be really difficult.
Yeah, I would agree. I think this has all been exacerbated, because of the pandemic, for one thing. I do believe that I felt like we were beginning to see a slowing of the appreciation, the rate of appreciation pre-pandemic.
Right.
And then pandemic happened. It caused a lot of people to really want to do something differently just because they wanted to get out of such congested areas. Then that threw off supply chains, and that, it slowed down the building process. It just kind of injected a little bit more challenge into the market.
So I think I'm going to start calling the pandemic the great disruptor, because I think we can basically look at just about every facet, whether it's waiting tables or trying to buy plywood, something in that portion of the economy has been disrupted.
Yeah,
So
it has. Well, I hope that was helpful. I hope that you got something out of this. I enjoy talking about it. It's, real estate's our life. So
that's what everybody wants to talk to us about.
it is. So if you have any questions or if you have any comments, certainly put them in the comments below or give us a call. We'd love to chat with you about it.
And just remember, we want to be your realtors for life.